Okay, the Wild Magic Sorcerer is probably one of my least favourite subclasses in all of D&D, but a lot of people love it, and let's find out why. This is my pure Wild Magic Sorcerer, level 1 to 12, with a combat tutorial and some items for you to use. So, let's jump in, and of course, level 1, that means we obviously have to start with Sorcerer. Now for your cantrips, I would take Firebolt, I would take Shocking Grasp, I would take Rare Frost, and I'll take Poison Spray. We've got a range of melee and ranged spellcasting and different damage types. For your first level spells, I would take Shield and Magic Missile, and then of course Wild Magic as your subclass. Tides of Chaos. Activate to gain advantage on your next attack roll, ability check or saving throw. Increase the chance of Wild Magic Surge afterwards. And of course Wild Magic. Wild Magic stems from the forces of chaos. It churns within sorcerers that yield it, waiting to burst free, and this basically gives you a range of different buffs, debuffs, anything can happen basically, as you'll see when we get to the combat tutorial. Okay, when it comes to your ability points, we're going to have 8 Strength, 14 Dexterity, 16 Constitution, 10 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and 16 Charisma. For your proficiencies, take whatever you feel like. And we move on to Sorcerer level 2. This gives us our sorcery points for us to start spending. And another spell, and we're going to take Mage Armor for this one because Draconic Sorcerer is the only one that innately gets a form of Mage Armor. For your spells, or your meta magic I should say, we're going to take Distance Spell, to increase the range of spells by 50%, and Twin Spell. It essentially allows you to target 2 people with a 1-person spell. Alright, Sorcerer level 3, we have an extra sorcery point now. And we have a bunch of options here, and your first one, in my opinion, should be Hold Person. Really nice way of just holding someone, and anyone that is held, any melee attacks on them are automatic critical hits. So if you upcast this and hold most of the battlefield, you honestly have probably just won the fight on round 1. An amazing spell. For your meta magic here, we're going to take Quicken Spell. So spells that cost an action cost a bonus action instead. However, this does use 3 sorcery points, which is a lot, so bear that in mind. Okay, Sorcerer level 4, we have a new feat available. Before that, we have a cantrip, and let's take Bone Chill. This allows an enemy, if it lands, to not be able to heal, and gives them disadvantage on their next attack roll. And for your spell here, we're going to take Scorching Ray. For your feat, we're actually going to do something very out of the blue, and we are going to take Spell Sniper. So you learn a cantrip, and the number you need to roll a critical hit with spells is reduced by 1. And of course, we're going to take Eldritch Blast. Okay, Sorcerer level 5, we get an extra spell here, and for this one we're going to take Fireball. At Sorcerer level 6, we end up with Bend Luck. Give a target a 1d4 bonus or penalty to attack rolls, saving throws, or ability checks. This does use 2 sorcery points, however. And for this one, we are going to take Misty Step, an amazing spell. Okay, at Sorcerer level 7, we end up with even more spells to choose, and for this one, we're going to take Ice Storm. 6 to 40 damage, it's both bludgeoning and cold. You impale a storm of hail and ice to crash from the sky. It lasts for 2 turns, and it's just amazing. Sorcerer level 8, this gives us access to more sorcery points and a new feat. So our first spell option though, we're going to take is Mirror Image. And we're going to go for the ASI and bump our Charisma up to 18. At Sorcerer level 9, we're going to take one of my favourite spells in the entire game, Cloud Kill. Not only is this a big amount of damage, you can also reposition it every turn without expending a spell slot. It is concentration, and the sorcerer innately is proficient with Constitution saving throws, which equals concentration. So yeah, really nice damage dealing spell. It also heavily obscures everything within the Cloud Kill. Okay, Sorcerer level 10, access to another cantrip. We'll take Mage Hand. And at this point we're going to take Cone of Cold as our level 5 spell. And we'll take Careful Spell for our meta magic. Allies automatically succeed at saving throws against spells that require them. Okay, Sorcerer level 11, we have Controlled Chaos. Foes may suffer a Wild Magic Surge while casting spells near your fluctuating magic. We are going to take Chain Lightning because this is one of my favourite spells in the entire game. It's so powerful. 10 to 80 damage. They still take half damage on a save, and it basically bounces from enemy to enemy. It's really good. And then our final level, Sorcerer level 12. I would take Haste at this point. You could also take Counterspell, it kind of depends. In my opinion, you might have better luck just throwing up a hold person and holding more than one person than trying to Counterspell. If you want to use Counterspell, that is okay. You might have a wizard who wants to have haste, you might have items that give you haste. Take your options, but really try and balance out your final spell based on your party. And our feat, we're going to take our Charisma up to 20. Okay, so that was our level by level guide. Now let's go on to our items, and we start with Birthright. An Act 3 hat from the Sorcerer's Sundries, Charisma +2, which bumps it up to 22, which is past the point you can use your ASIs. We're going to take the Cloak of Displacement. So at the beginning of the wearer's turn, the cloak activates, granting disadvantage on attack rolls that target the wearer. Really nice way of protecting yourself and your concentration spells, that sort of thing. For boots, I like the Space Hunt boots. Gives you access to Dimension Door, which just helps yourself and an ally traverse the battlefield. Now ideally you want to take the Potent Robes for a Sorcerer. The Potent Robes are really good, you get them in Act 2 for completing a certain objective. What the Potent Robes give you is a +1 to armor class. Your cantrips deal an additional damage based on your Charisma modifier, so you'd gain an extra +6 because we're at 22. And you get Well Liked and Well Fortified. At the beginning of our turn, they activate and they grant us temporary hit points equal to our Charisma modifier, so again +6 temporary hit points. Now if you don't have access to this because of whatever route you're going down, the Robe of the Weave is your next best bet. +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Whenever we succeed a saving throw, we'll regain 1 to 6 hit points and a +2 to armor class. Now you could also take the Brace of Defense, give the +2 to armor class if you're not wearing a shield or using armor, which we're not. However, I prefer the Quick Spell Gloves. Cantrips that cost an action, cost a bonus action instead. This effect can be used once per short rest, just a nice way of pumping out some spells. Now for rings, you kind of want to take anything that's going to buff up a damage type. So for example, the Snowburst ring. When we deal cold damage, we also create a 4.5 meter radius of ice around the target, meaning if they run towards us, more chance of slipping. The Shifting Corpus ring, blur and invisibility, nice way of just keeping ourselves safe. The Spellcrux amulet allows us to restore a spell slot, pretty self-explanatory, but a nice way of regaining some of your higher level spells when you don't recover them on a short rest. And then for a staff, Marker Share. +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Arcane Battery, which means we can get a free spell slot of any level. Really good setup here for a Wild Magic Sorcerer. So let's go find some combat and we'll get this going. Okay, as soon as you leave camp, first thing you're going to want to do is cast Mage Armor to help buff up your AC. This now brings us to a solid 17 AC. Okay, so let's say we're in the combat and you want us to get things going. We're going to do this out of combat, just like set up pretty okay. First things first, turn on your Arcane Battery. This will give you a free level spell slot. Now if you're playing on PC, I don't know how it will look. If you're playing on console, your spells will be orangey. So that's when you know you've got it. And we do Chain Lightning. And we'll cast it on this dude here.
Sort of fight.
And we did 42 damage there with a free spell slot. And here you go, in Snaring Strike we can do Controlled Chaos. Let's get that activated. And there you go, they now are slowed. And now we're in the combat. And as you see, we have all our spell slots thanks to Marker Share, which means we could come back in here with another Chain Lightning. And as you can see, we hit all 3 of them this time. Now it only works when you're in combat, it seems, but we just did a bulk load of damage to them. And thanks to our things like our Quick Spell Gloves, we could come in here, Quick Spell Fingers, and now we can do a cantrip such as an Eldritch Blast and target this one with our 3 rays. And again, we could do Controlled Chaos again if we wanted to. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there was a magic... Oh no, there was. There you go. We have an imp on the battlefield just suddenly spawning. I don't believe it's on our team, so please bear that in mind. It looks like it's neutral, but that is the joys of Wild Magic. Literally anything can happen. And as you can see, our Cloak of Displacement activated. Therefore, he missed his first attack against our AC of 17. Now, in this sort of situation, there are a lot of things we could do. For example, we could do a Twin Spell. So we'll get this going, and let's do Shocking Grasp. And we can target both of these people here. And there you go. Whereas normally, a Shocking Grasp would only target 1, we managed to attack both of them. We could also come in with a Quicken Spell, and get access to using another spell or cantrip as a bonus action. So again, let's save a spell slot and let's do another Shocking Grasp. And there you go, we've managed to wipe out most of the enemies with just our Sorcerer, and if you come into our spell slots, we've only spent one spell slot and we still have over half our sorcery points left. And there are more things we can use our sorcery points for. For example, we could do a Quicken spell again if we wanted to get that bonus action, our Careful spell, but I think what's really good is things such as Bend Luck as an action, or as a debuff on the enemy. But when you've got this many enemies left, I don't really think it's worth it. What we can do, for example, like I said, is things like Hold Person, so we can come in here. And there you go, and now what will happen is, if we send one of our melee characters up here, any hit on this dude will be a crit as long as we're holding concentration. And since we have Mage Armor, since we're displaced, and since on our next turn we could do a Mirror Image, our AC is going to be high, we're proficient with concentration. It's almost effectively unable to drop concentration on spells if you plan this out properly. And there you go, as I said, just make sure you know that the Minth isn't on your team if it spawns, but what we can do is, for example, counterspell it, just like that. And how Hold Person works amazingly is if you have like an Assassin or a Gloomstalker, or in my case, an Assassin Gloomstalker, who can come in with a big old sneak attack, and just do that. And if you pair this off with your weapons really nicely, for example, I have the Sword of Lifestealing in my offhand, any critical hit gives my rogue a plus 10 temporary hit points. Just like that. So you not only can you use this in a way to stop everyone on the battlefield, just pull out critical hits, but if your item composition is set up in a certain way, you can also use this to heal your allies, to buff your allies, all sorts. So as I said, for example, you could come in here and you could Mirror Image, once I can find it. Here we go, Mirror Image, not concentration. And now we've got a plus 9 to our armor class, and it's currently sitting at 26. And any enemies that can hit a 26 armor class kind of deserves to be honest. And that doesn't have to be the end of your turn. Come in here with a Quicken spell, use another 3 sorcery points, and just get an Eldritch Blast going. And there you go. That is how good a Wild Magic Sorcerer can be. You can pump out damage, control the battlefield, you can target multiple people at once. Sorcerers really are an amazing class in Baldur's Gate 3, and I think a lot of people overlook them just because they focus purely on the aspect of wizards and Gale, but sorcerers are so worth playing as. So if you've enjoyed, please drop this a like, it helps me amazingly. If you're new and not subscribed, you'd like to, that'd also be amazing. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the build, what you do differently, what other items, what party composition you'd use, all that fun stuff. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.